At first light, a fisherman stands on the bank of a wide, brown river in the top end and casts into the current. The water is warm and still. Mist is lifting off the surface, birds are calling across the floodplain, and the whole place looks like the most peaceful morning on Earth. And just under that flat brown surface, close to the bank, something that has ruled this exact river for millions of years has already seen him. It isn't in a hurry. It has all the time in the world. That is the Northern Territory. It is the one corner of Australia where the wild was never really pushed back, where a single animal still owns the water and the land so completely that people simply build their lives around it. Number 11 is already at the house. Check the underside of the outdoor chair, the rim of the letterbox, the dark corner of the shed. That's where you'll find the redback, a small dark spider with a red stripe, and one of the most commonly encountered venomous animals in the territory. Its venom is neurotoxic, working on the nerves, and a serious bite can bring hours of spreading pain, sweating, and a sickness that creeps out from the bite across the whole body. It's the right place to begin, because it sets the rule this whole list obeys. In the top end, the danger isn't only out in the wild, it has moved in with us. The redback thrives in sheds and mailboxes and folded furniture, in the exact structures people build, and you're far more likely to meet it reaching for a garden hose than out in the bush. There's an anti-venom, and deaths are now very rare. But the lesson is the same one you'll hear from everyone up here. You look before you reach, every single time. Bang out your boots in the morning. Check under the seat before you sit. It isn't paranoia. It's just how you live alongside an animal that has quietly decided your shed is the best home for miles, in a part of the country where the nearest hospital can be a very long way down, a very long road. And the next one doesn't wait in the shed. It watches from the dark. Subscribe now. We're counting down to the animal that rules both the water and the land. Number 10 watches your camp from the tree line. The dingo is the top end's wild dog, and it is far smarter than people give it credit for. It's an intelligent, adaptable hunter that often moves in pairs or small packs across the floodplains and the bush, and its behavior changes the moment people start leaving food around. A wild dingo keeping its distance is one thing. A bold, habituated one, drifting into a campsite at night, sizing up what's easy, is another entirely. It reads a camp the way a thief reads a house. Who's asleep, what's been left out, which child has wandered furthest from the fire. And it is endlessly patient. Picture a family camped near a billabong at dusk, scraps by the fire, and a pair of dingoes sitting just outside the ring of light, waiting. That is exactly the situation that turns a shy, wild dog into a genuine problem. The danger is rarely the dingo that fears you. It's the one that has stopped, the one that's learned there's an easy meal wherever people camp, and has lost every reason to keep its distance. Out on the floodplains, where a pack can move for kilometers without ever being seen, they know this country far better than any visitor ever will. Up here, feeding an animal is how you make it dangerous, and the next one doesn't wait to be fed. It comes at you. Number 9 charges out of the wetlands. Across the floodplains and the swampy edges of the top end moves one of the most destructive animals in the country, the feral pig. A big boar is a slab of muscle armed with tusks, bad-tempered and unpredictable, and it's known to charge when cornered or protecting young. On top of the physical danger, it carries diseases that can pass to people and livestock, and it tears up the same wetlands that everything else here depends on. It shouldn't even be here. It's an introduced animal gone wild across the north, and nothing in this landscape evolved to keep it in check. Picture pushing through tall floodplain grass at dusk, and hearing something heavy crash toward you rather than away. No tree close enough, no vehicle door to slam. A sow protecting a litter doesn't hesitate the way a wild animal usually does. It commits, low and fast, and the tusks do the rest. And in the thick, head-high grass of the wet season floodplain, you often won't see it until it's already moving. You'll only hear it, a sudden heavy crashing that's coming closer instead of running away. And the next one doesn't charge, it waits. Number 8 doesn't move at all. Almost every snake flees the instant it feels you coming. The death adder does the opposite. It works itself down into the leaf litter until it all but vanishes, and it waits. Sometimes for days, with a strike among the fastest ever recorded in any snake. It even lures its prey in close, twitching the very tip of its tail like a grub wriggling in the dirt before it strikes. Think about what that means, walking a bush track in the top end. The threat isn't a snake racing away where you'd see it. It's the pile of dead leaves you step over without a glance that hasn't moved in a week. Its venom acts on the nervous system, and out here, hours from a hospital, time is the thing you don't have. And because it never flees, people walk the same path past the same hidden adder day after day and never know. Until the one afternoon a bare foot or a curious dog's nose lands an inch too close. It doesn't hunt you. It simply refuses to move and lets the world walk into it. It's the ambush you never see set on the most ordinary patch of ground imaginable. And the next one is fast, and it's already near your camp. Number 7 lives right where you do. Fast, nervous, and widespread across the territory is the western brown snake. Slender, quick, and easily startled. It lives right up against the places people live and work. The community, the camp, the station yard, the grassy edge of a home, drawn in by the mice and rats that gather wherever people store food. It is among the snakes most responsible for serious bites up here, precisely because its world and ours overlap so completely. It doesn't want you. It wants the mice around your buildings. But it's tense, it moves like a whip, and it's often gone before you've registered what you're looking at, which is exactly how people end up bitten reaching for something they never saw. That's the whole story of the top end in one animal. The brown snake isn't dangerous because it hunts people. Cornered, it mostly just wants a way out. It's dangerous because its world and yours are the same warm patch of dry grass by the shed. Step wrong, reach blind into the wrong pile, hang the washing in bare feet on a warm evening, and you've closed a distance that was never really there. Ask anyone who grew up on a territory community or station, and they'll tell you the same reflexes. Stamp your feet, keep the grass down around the house, never put a hand where your eyes haven't been first. And the next one carries more venom than almost anything else on the continent. Number 6 hangs on and doesn't let go. Out in the drier country and the old sheds of the territory lives the mulga snake, better known as the king brown. Though, confusingly, it isn't a true brown snake at all. What makes it so feared is sheer volume. It's thought to deliver one of the largest loads of venom of any Australian snake, and instead of a quick strike and release, it can bite down and chew to drive as much venom in as it possibly can. It's big. It grows longer and heavier than most people imagine a dangerous snake could, and it's active at night in the warm months, exactly when someone might step outside without a torch. It turns up where people work and store things. The woodpile, the dry creek bed, the gap under an old shed. Reach for the next log, step over a fallen sheet of tin, and you're in its space before either of you knew it. And it holds its ground more than most snakes, which is the last thing you want from an animal carrying that much venom. Not a quick nip and gone, but a bite that hangs on. One clean identifier, one enormous dose. And now we come to the animal that rules the land itself. If the top end is starting to feel like someone else's territory, subscribe. Because it is. Number 5 owns the open floodplain. Out on the wide green floodplains of the top end stands an animal that looks like it belongs on another continent entirely, the feral water buffalo. Enormous, heavy, and crowned with a huge sweep of horns. It's the descendant of animals brought north generations ago and released into the wetlands, where they thrive in their thousands. A big buffalo can weigh many times what a person does, standing taller at the shoulder than most people, and carrying horns that sweep out wider than a person is tall, and a territorial or startled one can charge with shocking speed and trample or gore with ease. For all its bulk, it can move fast, and it does not bluff the way people expect a big grazing animal to. And out here, there is nowhere to go. The floodplain is flat, open, and empty. No trees to climb, no rocks to hide behind, nothing between you and an animal that size once it decides you're a threat. Picture crossing open ground at dusk and realizing the dark shapes near the tree line have all turned to face you. It rules the land the way the crocodile rules the water, by sheer mass and bad temper, and the country gives you nothing to put between you and it. And it doesn't only threaten people on foot. Out on the remote dirt roads of the top end, a buffalo standing in the dark is a wall of muscle a vehicle can hit before the driver ever sees it. Like the pig, it was never meant to be here. and nothing in this landscape can hold it in check. And from here, everything left on this list belongs to the water. Number 4 is a rock until it isn't. On the coastal reef flats, in the shallow sunlit water where people wade at low tide, there sits what looks like an ordinary weed-covered stone. Rest your weight on it, and you'll find it isn't a stone at all. It's the stonefish, widely considered the most venomous fish in the world. Its back carries a row of stiff spines that can punch venom straight up through the thin sole of a reef shoe as if it weren't there. The pain is described by survivors as some of the worst a human body can feel. Bad enough to make grown adults beg for the affected limb to be taken off. And the horror of it is how passive it is. You aren't hunted. You aren't chased. There's no fin, no charge, no warning at all. You simply place a foot in the wrong spot in warm, clear, beautiful water on exactly the kind of afternoon people picture when they picture the tropics. It doesn't move, it doesn't warn, it doesn't need to. And this is the trap of the tropical shallows. The water is so clear and so warm and so inviting that people wade straight out barefoot without a second thought, in the one place where a single careless step can cost them the worst pain of their lives. And the next one swims right up to the edge of the city. Number 3 is in the harbour. Most shark fear lives out past the surf. The bull shark moves it somewhere far more unsettling. It's a heavy, blunt-nosed shark with an ability almost no other large shark shares. It thrives in warm, murky, low-visibility water. The tidal rivers, the estuaries, and the harbour right on Darwin's doorstep. This is not a distant reef. This is the brown water people fish over, launch boats into, and see from the road every day. That's what makes it so unsettling. It hunts best exactly where the water is cloudiest, and people feel most at ease, because a working harbour and a tidal river simply don't register as shark country in anyone's mind. Picture the brown water off a Darwin jetty on a hot afternoon, someone throwing a line in, kids messing about at the water's edge. And, moving through that murk where nothing can be seen a hand's width down, a heavy shark built for exactly this. It doesn't need the open ocean to reach people. It's already inshore, already in the rivers, already moving through the same brown water everything else up here shares. Every wet season, when the rivers run high and push out into the harbour and the flooded creeks, it follows the food inland into water people think of as theirs. And the next one you won't see until it's on you. Number 2, you will not see until it's too late. In the warm season, on the beaches of the top end, drifts a threat that turns the most inviting water on the coast into the most dangerous. Pale, glassy, near transparent, with fine tentacles that can trail for matras. This is the box jellyfish, regarded as among the most venomous marine animals on Earth. A serious sting delivers venom fast enough to send a body into shock, and in the worst cases can stop the heart within minutes, sometimes before the person can even reach the sand. This is the reason people up here don't just swim off any beach in the warm months, the reason for the vinegar bottles on the posts and the netted swimming enclosures. It is beautiful, silent, and effectively invisible against the light. No warning, no sound. Sometimes barely any pain in the first instant. It rules the beaches for half the year, and the locals simply surrender that water to it and wait for the season to turn. Think about that for a moment. An entire coastline of warm, tropical, postcard-perfect water, and for half the year the people who live right beside it simply do not go in, because something they can barely see has claimed it. That is how completely a single animal can own a place up here. And still, it is not the animal that rules this entire territory. Number 1 rules the water and the land, and always has. At Cahill's Crossing, as the tide turns, in the rivers of Kakadu, along the Mary River and the edges of Darwin Harbour, lives the saltwater crocodile, the largest living reptile on the planet, and the reason the top end is the crocodile capital of the world. This is the animal the whole territory is built around. It can hold itself completely motionless for hours, indistinguishable from a floating log, only a pair of eyes and the ridge of a back breaking a surface you'd swear was empty. It has learned people, where they fish, where they clean their catch, where they launch a boat, what time of day the bank gets busy. And it plans around all of it, with a patience that has been refined over more time than mammals have existed. This is not an animal that reacts. It is an animal that waits and remembers and chooses its moment. But here is what earns it the very top of this list, above every shark and snake and everything else. It doesn't only rule the water. A big saltwater. Crocodile hauls out and basks on the land, moves overland between waterholes, and can cross open ground far faster than anything that size should be able to. It owns the river and the bank and the space in between. Up here, you don't stand at the edge of still water at dawn. You don't clean fish at the same ramp 2 days running. You don't wade a crossing without knowing exactly what's in it. Not because it happens constantly, but because when it does, there is no warning, no struggle you can win, and no second chance. Go and stand at Cahill's Crossing when the tide turns and the fish start running, and you can watch it happen. The crossing that people still drive and walk, and the big crocodiles gathering in the churning water beside it, waiting, as they have every tide for longer than the road has existed. It is the clearest picture in the country of what this whole list has been building toward. A place where people and the oldest predator on Earth share the exact same few meters of ground and water, and only one of them was built for it. And that brings us back to the fisherman on the riverbank at first light, casting into that flat brown water, in the mist, with the birds calling and the whole morning looking like peace itself. Because the Northern Territory was never really about a list of dangerous animals. It's about one truth the entire territory is quietly organized around. Here, the wild still holds the deed to both the water and the land. The oldest apex predator on the planet never left this place. It simply stayed, in the rivers and on the banks, and we moved in around it, and we learned to live by its rules. Think back over the whole list for a moment. The redback in the shed and the dingo at the firelight. The pig in the floodplain grass, the adder that won't move, the brown snake in the yard, the king brown in the shed. The buffalo that owns the open ground, the stonefish on the reef, the bull shark in the harbour, the box jellyfish that closes the beaches for half the year. And above all of them, in the water and on the land at once, the crocodile. 2 whole worlds, and one animal sitting at the top of both. That's why the people who know this country treat it with a respect that startles visitors. They read the water. They watch the bank. They never assume a still river is empty. They never turn their back on the floodplain, and they teach their kids the same before they can swim. They understand something the rest of the country lets itself forget, that we are not, and never really were, the most dangerous thing out here. So the Northern Territory was never about how many dangerous animals live here. It's about one simple fact the whole place is built around. Up here, in the water and on the land, you are a guest of something that was ruling both long before you arrived, and will be ruling them long after you're gone. There's a whole continent of this, and we're only getting started. Subscribe and come with us.